Our website is called Hey You Guys, which is a line from The Goonies, the film from the 80s called The Goonies.
I know The Goonies.
And obviously that movie really promotes this idea that you should believe in the next generation, that they can save the day. And cinema has a very long-standing tradition of that. And your film really perpetuates that idea. Do you think it's really important we tell young people that they are important, that they can make a difference, or in kind of cinematic terms, they can save the world?
Absolutely. I think wherever change has occurred, it has usually come from the youth. On a level, because I mean, they come in with new ideas, with new perspectives, they assert themselves in a different way. Yes, I also was brought up in an environment where me and my brother both, our opinion mattered, what we felt mattered, what we said mattered, and therefore developed our own voices. So I think it's very important to put that, and I'm a huge fan of those movies. They meant a lot to me growing up, whether it was Breakfast Club, Dead Poets Society, The Goonies, E.T., those films meant a lot to me.
It's interesting you to sort of say that, because I feel like from some sort of what I've seen of the movie, your movie so far, it feels like this film is really drawing inspirations from both kind of classic Bollywood films, but also classic Hollywood films at the same time. Can you just talk about that balance and the kind of marriage of the two different industries and what
yes. Yes, we actually, when Netflix offered me this, it's a gigantic American IP. And it's going to be on a platform that goes to 190 countries. And this is their first feature film. So they have come to the Indian film industry to make the first feature Archie film, and it's going to be transmitted all over the world. So there is an American IP, so it had to lean into that, but we wanted to keep the Indian form, which was of a musical in it. You know, our storytelling has been oral traditionally, and that's come down to our theater and now come down to our film. And we use music in it. And that syntax was very important for Rima to put into this movie and then do it in a style that is understandable and accessible globally.
I mean, I just wanted to ask about Netflix. I mean, we saw last year with Triple R just how much films now from other countries across the world can create a real cultural ripple all around the kind of world in a way that really it was not possible before. Well, it wasn't impossible; it was harder, sort of pre-streaming. Yeah. Is that one of the benefits to platforms like Netflix in making products from around the world so easily accessible?
I think so. I think so, because now you are watching stories from all over the globe, and you are, you know, you've broken that barrier of the subtitle. You know, people are beginning to read. People are getting curious. You are dabbling, and you are getting closer to different cultures. You're curious about different cultures. You're more open to it. So I think that the lines are blurring. At the end of the day, wherever it's from, whatever language it's from, human beings are the same. Emotional, this is it. You know, these are the emotions we play with wherever we are. And, you know, some are heightened here and some are heightened there, but it's the same keyboard, you know. So that's it. I think people are leaning in, getting more curious, getting stories from elsewhere, and enjoying other cultures more.
I just back to this movie. I mean, on one hand, it seems to have a kind of romantic undercurrent. There's comedic elements. It's a coming-of-age story, but there's obviously grander, more kind of social, political aspects at play, but especially given the context of the era it's set in, and obviously the rise of like gentrification as well. I just wondered if you could talk to bringing in the more kind of serious themes and having them work in unison with the more playful aspects of the story.
So basically, we wanted, obviously, we were like, let's go old school with the Archies. Let's make it that dreamy escape that it meant to us when we were kids. And to all people in our generation, what Archie meant, and that nostalgia needs to remain intact. You know, they need to step back in time. But having done that for the generation today that doesn't know the Archies, we wanted themes that were relevant to them. And what concerns their concerns to be addressed in it. So that's what we did, put those two things together. The 60s was an era of where people believed they could change the world. Rock and roll had come in, you know, that heralded its own rebellion. They're teenagers, they're 17, that comes with its own rage and identity assertion. So all of that put together with Gen Z concerns is what we've tried to do.
Do you feel quite encouraged by the next generation. I mean, like Gen Z. I mean, they seem very politically minded, very conscious of the environment and the world around them. Do you feel like our future's in good hands?
I think so. I think the environment is of grave concern to them. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, we need someone to be concerned about it. And having said that, it's also like you realize, like I spent a lot of time shooting in Ooty and shooting in the hill stations of India. And even though you work 12, 13 hours, you don't feel the fatigue because you're so earthed. When you're in nature, and I think we've lost that. We see ourselves separate from nature. We are nature, but we go to it. We've lost it in our urban spaces. And I think that concern that the Gen Z has for it is vital, valid, and I'm actually grateful that they're there fighting the good fight.
So just my very final question, I just wanted to ask about the wonderful cast you put together here, because you're directing a collection of young kind of actors. I just wondered, is there a kind of a great joy to be surrounded on set by those who are relatively new to the industry? Is there a kind of enthusiasm that comes with that can be quite contagious?
Yes, it does. It's an enthusiasm. It's a joy. They are just so excited about everything. They came to set every day, whether they were shooting or not. And everything was fun. Everything was new. And somehow vicariously, this is my 5th feature. And I've also done shorts and I've also done long format. But somehow vicariously, I kind of relived my debut with them. And that energy is very infectious and very contagious. And I'd like to retain some of that wonder going on to my next project. It was lovely working with them. I'm a little spoiled.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Best of luck with the release of the movie. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey, you guys.
Hey, you guys.
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys.
Hey!